really, it's just pumping is a lot of work. So if you can nurse directly from the breast, you just save time on cleaning pump parts, setting up pump parts, it's just storing the milk, thawing the milk. It's just easier if you can nurse. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unplanned Parent, where I, Angelica Rampal, aka Dr. Angel, and I'm joined by an adventurous, guitar-jamming dad-to-be, casual inspiration for the productively stressed, who is also my co-host and my brother, Raman. And today we are also joined by our special guest, his baby mama, Ashley. Ashley is 5.5 months pregnant with the baby that she and Raman plan to co-parent platonically. Ashley, thank you so much for being here today to join Raman and me. We are going to talk about some fun stuff today. How's everyone doing?
Excited to be here.
How you feeling, Ashley? Do you have any morning sickness? My mother never had morning sickness.
No, I don't hate me, all the other moms out there, pregnant ladies out there, but yeah, it's been a very easy pregnancy. I haven't had any sickness, no morning sickness. Had all the energy in the world and just have to pee a lot. You know
who you can thank for that?
Oh, because that's genetic. Yeah.
I mean, I figure it's passed down from my mother to Ashley, the morning sickness. I mean, Yes, it all makes sense in the genetic world.
So the Rampal genes, Rampal sperms give baby mamas no morning sickness, is what your theory is.
I think that's a great medical conclusion.
I think that someone should study that. There may be some data to back that up. How's everything else going, Ashley? Are you still exercising the way you normally do, or have you pulled that back a little bit?
Yeah, I was still exercising. I mean, sometimes I get out of breath a little easier, but I think that's common. But no matter what, I'm still trying to walk and lift weights and do all the things just to make sure I'm staying healthy.
How about the Pilates? Is that still going on?
Pilates is still going on, just not doing the hot Pilates anymore. But so I mean, I do miss the hot rooms, but yeah, different forms of Pilates, which is good.
So do your Pilates neighbors are they wondering why you're getting bigger as you're exercising more?
Maybe. I don't know. I've actually thought about that. I'm like, they think, I've got this little belly. I'm at that point where it's hard to tell if I'm pregnant or just got a little bump. So,
or maybe they're thinking Pilates isn't for everyone.
Yeah. I do make a point to tell my instructors in all my classes that I'm pregnant so I can modify things as needed and they don't think I'm just slacking off. So making sure that.
Yeah, I know. Always want to make sure that people don't think we're slacking in those group classes.
Yes.
So here we are, and we are going to talk today a little bit about what you two have been doing to kind of prepare for this baby coming, like things that parents have to do before a baby comes to the house. Like, are you guys, like, do you have cribs? Do you have 2 cribs? Because, you might have, you're going to have 2 different homes. Like, how's this all what's going on?
Great question. There's still a lot of planning to do. But I have finalized, for the most part, my baby registry. And let me tell you, that was a task. Probably spent 15 hours on it, I feel like. But yeah, there's just, I know everybody says you don't need as much as you think you need, but there's just overwhelmingly information and stuff and brands and opinions out there. So it's been tough to figure out what are the necessities versus the need to haves versus wants to haves, and what to spend money on versus just getting it used since they're not going to be using it much. It's overwhelming. There's a lot.
Oh my gosh. I do not envy a pregnant mother today. There's just so much information out there. Like it's impossible to try to figure out unless you have a great source that can help weed out some of the research and help guide you. Me.
Yes, absolutely.
I was like, I was going to ask, what is that source? Whoops.
But Raman, what about you? Like, first of all, do you have a place to live that's anywhere near the baby?
That's a great question. The answer is no. I've driven down to San Diego a few times, and I've explored communities that I would like to live in. Whether
Where are
that's
you
like
currently right now?
I'm in Park City, Utah,
Okay. And do you live
so
there?
now I can virtually go to San Diego and check out communities. That's how good the internet is. No, do I live here? No, no, no. My buddy lives here, business partner, and I'm snowboarding. So I'm trying not to dwell too much on all this stuff because it can get a little heavy, but I think I've narrowed down that I will be living in San Diego.
Because that's where
Eh,
Ashley, your
y-
baby mama, that is
yes,
going to have the baby.
yes. So I would like to be,
Yeah.
within a few miles of her.
Okay.
And I think North County, San Diego would be a good place because I'd be close to you guys. I'd be close to mom and dad.
So by you guys, you're referring to me because I live in Orange County and our parents who live in
Uh-huh.
Orange County. So you'd
Right.
be near your baby, which is the primary goal, and Ashley, who's going to be co-parenting this baby with you. But it would also be a bonus to be not too far from your nieces and nephew and your sister and brother-in-law and mom and dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm narrowing it down to North County, San Diego somewhere. And what I've realized is it's probably going to take quite a bit more time to find that like permanent home. So I'll probably end up finding an Airbnb or a place to rent for quite a while until I kind of like really find the perfect place. And that's fine. I'm open with that.
Are you going to have a crib in your place? Or are you going to have like what? How's
That's a
the
great
setup?
question. Yeah, I'm gonna have everything.
So are you just gonna like steal Ashley's registry and register for all that stuff too? Like, what do you mean you're gonna have everything?
Yeah, I'm having my own registry. I'm kidding, everyone. No, I think I'm glad she's done a lot of the hard work. I know it's always been difficult for me to ask people for stuff too. So that was a joke, guys. Like,
Oh,
hey,
you
this
mean
is what
ask
I.
people to give you things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gifts?
Isn't that what a
Okay.
registry? Wait. I'm confused. Isn't
Yes,
that what a
yes,
registry is?
yes,
It's like a Christmas wish list,
yes.
Yeah, it
and then
really
you
Basically,
is.
send it to, everybody.
yes,
And then you
Okay.
start getting
yes.
stuff in the mail. It's pretty, it's like
Yeah,
magic.
yeah. It sounds, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Like,
It's basically a letter to Santa that you give to all of your friends,
yes,
and they
yeah.
make it happen if you
It basically
believe.
says I'm gonna have a tough 50 years ahead of me. Anything you can send me now will make it a little bit easier, right? Pretty much.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I think I got to talk to Ashley, and maybe this is it. Uh, but whatever is important to have duplicated of makes sense, especially like a car seat, right? That's interchangeable. I know we've talked about car seats before, but and it's a point of contention with Ashley, and it brings up emotions. It's gonna be hard to ever mention a car seat again.
I do have 2 bases on the registry, just so you know. So that is for
Oh,
you.
perfect. All right, good,
Yeah.
good,
You're
good.
welcome.
Okay, see, there we go. We've already got one base for Raman's car and one base for Ashley's car.
So what I do know is I will have a comfortable place to be for me and the baby and whomever and Ashley and everyone who wants to come and hang out. And I'll have a place by May 1st. A lot of the places that I was looking at, just to rent were like, why are you searching for a place? It's November. Like, no one has a place vacant in May. I was like, oh, that's a good point. So it's been tough.
Have you guys talked about how those first couple of days after birth, like, or weeks, what's the plan there?
I mean, we still have to talk about a lot more details, but I have a 2-bedroom place, so my hope is that Roman can spend time, within those first few days or weeks, or I don't know how it's going to go. But I think we're both open to being flexible, and I know he'll be there when I need him to be there.
And I will be.
Love that. But what's your vision, Ashley? And then Raman,
What's my
what's
vision?
your vision? Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and where do they overlap?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we still have, there's still this is, a conversation that we haven't like gone to the depths with yet. Cause I still feel like it's far away, but it's not really, it's just coming up in a few months. My hope is that he's there for, maybe at least the week. I don't know if it needs to be 2 weeks. I can't really say this right now. I think it just depends how things go. How much, I do have family, but I don't know how much they will be able to help. Just due to age. I've definitely got you guys here as well. So I'm hoping just people to be open to flexibility, to be honest, because I don't know what I don't know at this point.
Exactly. Like it might be day 3 and Ashley is, back in the Pilates studio. I have no idea how this is going to work out. Or it might be day 3 and she can't move. So that changes the equation a lot. In that case, I'm going to be spending a ton more time. I'm going to be spending a ton of time anyways, regardless of how, I remember, Angel, when you first had, your first child, it was a lot of work. I think there was like a rotation of like me and your husband and our mom and dad and
And me.
were you? So look, I'm not going into this naively. I understand it's gonna be a crazy little, not just 1 or 2 weeks, but 1 or 2 years and then some.
Yeah, and I think what people sometimes it's hard, I think, between siblings too, is that when one sibling has a kid and one sibling doesn't, the sibling that doesn't have a kid can be a great aunt or uncle and be there for the birth and help with round the clock care. But now, and I'm just making excuses for myself ahead of time, but it would be a lot harder for me to be there for your baby's round the clock care because I've got my own kids to take care of. And I do think that that gets contentious. I've seen that happen with some of my friends. So I just like, let's get that out in the open right now so that you know that I would be there if I could.
Sorry, I missed all that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Ashley, how do you feel about that Raman's response there?
No, and I trust Raman, and I know he's entering this seriously, and he's going to be there when I need him, and he will be there for as long as I need him. I don't think he'll be planning a trip in May to go to South Africa or anything like that. So, we'll see what happens
Definitely
after
not.
that. But yeah.
So there's a baby bash coming up, and you're working on your registry.
Yes, and very overwhelmed with all the options. I've gone. What's crazy right now, and I think a lot of the other moms out there will agree, is that there's no real baby store anymore. They're all out of business. But there's no, at least
Babies
in
are
San Diego.
us.
At least in San Diego, I think they exist in pockets throughout other cities. But where I live, there's no Babies R Us. There's no Bye Bye Baby. They've all shut down. So there's not one center place to go look at everything. So I've gone to the Targets, the Nordstroms, the Pottery Barn Kids just to see everything. And that's still, I don't think I'm even looking at everything. So I'm just looking at everything online. And the infant, like the stroller and the car seats, it's overwhelming.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so overwhelming if you have to look at everything online and decide. There's too many options.
So I've leaned on a lot of friends and look at their registries and talk to sales associates, but I'd love to hear from you where do you even start when it comes to all that? Especially when it comes to the strollers and the car seats.
Who was your biggest advisor?
Who was my biggest advisor when I had kids? Yeah, I mean, I would say I actually probably lean on some of the same things now that I leaned on then. I look at Wirecutter and Consumer Reports, and I go from there because online reviews, I probably also would, like if I had to make my own analyses right now, I probably would pick the ones I'm going to analyze based on the ones most sold on Amazon, for example. But then let's just take, for example, a car seat, which is a really important thing that a baby needs, but you're only going to use it for like 9 to 12 months, maybe 15 months if you've got a small kid. And I would go on Wirecutter and Consumer Reports and cross-reference their information and see what their top few are and what makes one better than another. And one thing I do recommend when you're looking at car seats is to also look at the length and the weight limitations. Like when you're like, oh, it goes up to 30 inches. That seems really long when the baby's born and is like 19 inches. But babies grow pretty fast. And so that extra 2 inches buys you little bit of time to use this very expensive car seat for another few weeks or months. And also, I would recommend looking at the weight of the car seat itself, because if the car seat's 13 pounds versus 10 pounds, and now you put like a 20 or a 10 pound or 20 pound baby in there over time, that matters too. So I would look at the height and weight parameters. So I would give people that advice, like if they were coming to me for a prenatal consult, for example.
Is Wirecutter the same thing as Consumer Reports, like professional reviews?
They do testing also. It's part of the New York Times now. Yeah.
Because you did mention like looking at peer reviews or whatever, customer reviews, and kind of combine. I believe you said that combining with Consumer Reports or something. Because there's two aspects, right? One aspect is like, how easy is this car seat to use for me and whatever my partner, and then the other aspect is like, how well does it do if it falls, right?
So the reason that I was saying that I would look at what people are buying is only so that I would have like a baseline understanding of what is popular out there, and then go start studying that on Consumer Reports and Wirecutter.
That makes sense.
I would still start, if I was going totally from scratch, blank slate, I would go take the top 5 on Consumer Reports and Wirecutter and see where they have the best overlap and why they're not exactly the same. And sometimes they're not exactly the same because one is more expensive. And so it's just like gets less points because it's too expensive. So that's not accessible to everyone, or because it doesn't fit in every car the same way. So, I mean, like the Graco Snug Ride has been a standard car seat for more than a decade now, and it's been one of the top car seats, and it's still performing really well and is still a top contender. So when parents ask me about that, I usually say, yep, that's great, but there are other options out there too for people who want less heavy car seat, or want to go into some of the higher end car seats too.
One of the car seats that I'm looking at is the Nuna Pippa RX, and I find that it's the top safety rating. Almost everybody I talk to says like gets that a car seat, even if they don't get the stroller. They just have all the adapters. Top safety rating, it goes to 32 inches. It's like, I think 7.9 pounds. It is a little on the higher side, but I think for some things I'm willing to pay higher side. And then like my bassinet that I got last week, I got used on Marketplace for $100. So, I'm going to go back and forth on what I think safety and weight is super important.
Yeah, I think that the Pippa Nuna is a great car seat. I think the reason that one doesn't get the top ratings is because if you don't have a latch system in your car, most newer cars have latch systems, but if you don't have the latch system in your car, it's a little harder to install the Pippa. And also, if I believe it's a little harder if you don't have the base for you to install it that way too. So it's just like if you've got 2 bases and those are the only 2 people that are going to drive your baby, and you've got 2 cars that have the latch system in them, then you're fine. But if like sometimes grandma's going to pick up the baby or your neighbor's going to pick up the baby from daycare, and you need to and they don't have a latch system in their car. So it's just making it more universally accessible. I think that's the only downside to it, but it's a really lightweight car seat. It's super sleek looking. And if you've got 2 bases, I think you're set.
You had the latch system, right? I remember that being very simple. They just click in, click out, and it was like very seamless.
Yes, we have the latch in all of our current cars. It's a lot easier, and it's a lot easier as you progress in the different car seats for older kids too.
Hey, wait, are we sponsored by Graco or Nuna?
Oh, yeah. No, nobody is paying me to say any of this, so not even Consumer Reports. So, no, and I don't even have a subscription. I probably should, for as much as I use them.
I just got a Consumer Report subscription just for this purpose.
Yeah, I think I had one when my kids were younger too, and I would do the same thing with like strollers. Like I would look at how lightweight they are, how easy it is for your car seat to click into them, if you're going to use your car seat to click into your stroller. And then what I loved is if you have if your stroller has the function to lay back, like a pram function, because as your kid gets older and they fall asleep in the car seat, or sorry, as your kid gets older and they fall asleep in the stroller, then you could just have them lay back a little bit and they can stay sleeping for a little longer. So I thought that was really helpful too.
No, that's great advice. That's definitely something. There's like the true flat, and then there's this almost true flat. There's just so many options. And then there's the weight of the under, like how much weight that the storage can hold in the bottom. There's a lot of factors to look at.
Yeah, but how much are you really going to put at the bottom of that car seat
I don't
anyway?
know.
I mean,
I don't know.
yeah. So, like another question I have for you guys is, have you talked about breastfeeding? Like, are you planning on breastfeeding?
Yeah, I wasn't planning on breastfeeding, but I think Ashley might want to.
I mean, I absolutely want to breastfeed if I'm able to, I know the odds should be in my favor that I should be able to, but I do have people close in my life that no matter how they tried and how many lactation consultants they work with, they weren't able to. So I'm going to try my best to breastfeed. But I will have a backup plan if I can't, just so there's something there.
I think that's such a healthy way to look at it because many moms come in wanting to breastfeed and it doesn't work out for everybody. I do think you said it was okay that we shared that you have breast implants.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, breast implants, women with breast implants can breastfeed also. There have been some studies that say they have a little bit less success at breastfeeding than women without implants, but then other studies that show that they leave the hospital breastfeeding at similar rates to women without breast implants. So I wouldn't let that stop you. And certainly, I would make sure you have either like really close friends that have breastfed or a lactation consultant on hand because it can be so difficult. I remember crying and calling the lactation consultant from my office, Mary. She's amazing. And I just called her. My baby was like 12 hours old. And I was like, this hurts so much and I can't do this. What should I do? And she gave me great advice right there. She told me, stop nursing, start pumping, build your supply, and we'll work on the latch later. And she was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay. And I, got out of the hospital and made my appointment.
Pumping and direct nursing is pretty much the same thing in terms of nutritional impact, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess you got plastics involved.
That's true.
And freezing potentially.
Yeah. It is very similar for sure. And I think there's a lot of benefits to bottle feeding because non-nursing moms can bottle feed, like dads can bottle feed. And so I would say that generally, yes, there's going to be some nutritional difference because also the timing of like the circadian rhythm of giving the milk that you're making in the morning is different than the milk you make at night. So it's actually very complex. But overall, it's if the latch doesn't work, I would say, yes, certainly pump and feed. Or if you're working and you need to pump at work, like I did, I think you do what you can do. But really, it's just pumping is a lot of work. So if you can nurse directly from the breast, you just save time on cleaning pump parts, setting up pump parts. It's just storing the milk, thawing the milk. It's just easier if you can nurse.
All right, we'll just plan on Ashley breastfeeding then.
Well, the thing I am going to make sure that is before I leave the hospital is making sure he doesn't have a tongue tie because I know that can be conflicting and that can help prevent a good latch. Two of my nephews had that problem. So, I want to be aware of that before I leave the hospital so I can, correct that as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's another topic that, I think you want to make sure you have someone very well trained to decide whether you need to have that tongue tie clipped or not. Because while it's a minor procedure, it's still a procedure and the risk is super small, but there still can be a risk. And I've seen a couple cases where it wasn't the best outcome. So, there's always something to think about. And just you have a lot of knowledge already, and then just make sure you trust your doctors that are around you and the nurses and the other healthcare providers like the lactation consultants.
Absolutely.
And in extreme, dire, distressed situations, I've read that men actually can lactate. So, hopefully it doesn't come to that, and that might not be true, but I have read that.
Is anyone freaking out here? Like, Raman, Ashley, I don't understand how you're not freaking out that the person who's supposed to co-parent with you doesn't have a place near you. Like, I can't tell you how many times I freak out for you because you don't freak out for you.
Well, I know that the worst case scenario, there's Airbnbs, like there is options to rent a place spur of the moment. He lives out of a backpack. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. So
Are you okay with that? I guess you were fine with him living out of a backpack and being your baby daddy.
I mean, as long as he carries a second backpack with diapers, that's all we really need. Or a bigger backpack.
Yeah. So in terms of anxiety and stress about having this child, I was not too concerned about it until like 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago when you mentioned it, because you started talking about click-in seats versus the seatbelt, and I started forming opinions, and it reminded me of like when me and you, Angel, moved in together in Santa Monica and we remodeled the house, and I was like, I don't care what everything looks like. And then when you get presented with 20 different door handles and you have to make a decision, all of a sudden this benign door handle now has like some significance that you're going to spend 2 hours arguing with your sister about. And it's so lame. And it was so stressful and so just, it was a bad experience in general. Like, I don't want to think too hard about this stuff. I'm really happy that that hopefully Ashley has made the best decisions and I can just kind of go with the flow. But yeah, I mean, look, I think having a child requires you to stress out and have anxiety and deal with a lot of choices, and just have to go with the flow and figure it out, right? So I've told Ashley from the very beginning, like, I'm here, call me anytime, let me know if you have questions, if you want me to buy anything, if you want me to do anything, I got your back.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're touching on something really important, that parenting comes with a lot of decision making, and now you're not making decisions for yourself. You're making decisions that impact this human life that you're responsible for, and some of them are big safety decisions, like picking the right stroller or crib is a safety decision. And you we will talk more about sleep safety in future episodes. But those are all really important things. And I think maybe we can transition to the medical breakdown, because I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Let's do it.
So I think that everyone should think about the things that you must do prior to having a baby. And there are a lot of things on this list, but some of those things are going to be: you should pick out a pediatrician, ideally a pediatrician with a lactation consulting service if you are planning on breastfeeding or hoping to breastfeed. If your pediatrician doesn't offer lactation services, then I would maybe learn about some lactation services nearby. So just having a pediatrician and your caregiver ready, making sure the pediatrician you've chosen aligns with you on the way you want to vaccinate your baby. I would recommend vaccinating on schedule. All three of my children were vaccinated on the CDC vaccine schedule, AAP vaccine schedule of years past. And I would also make sure that your pediatrician of choice is covered by your insurance, because it has happened to me where I've gone and seen babies in the hospital, and then I established this great connection with the mom and dad, and then after the first visit they say, "Oh my gosh, we can't see you because our insurance doesn't cover you." That just sucks. I hate insurance companies. We'll talk about that another episode too. But you also want to have a safe place for your baby to sleep. The safest place for a baby to sleep is on a firm, flat surface near your bed in your bedroom, but not in your bed. You don't want to have anything soft or fluffy in the crib. So no stuffies, no blankets. Once you have a pediatrician and you have a safe place to put the baby down when you're home, then other things like diapers, you can have a handful. You're going to get a lot of those from the hospital. You don't have to worry about that too much. They'll give you enough to go home with and for a couple of days. But you might want to make decisions on things like circumcision. Like, Raman, Ashley, have you guys decided whether you're going to circumcise or not?
I haven't discussed it with Ashley, but if you want to give your thoughts on it.
while people can argue that there are medical reasons to circumcise, I personally think that it's a very personal decision, and that if people don't want to circumcise, I don't push them, because I don't think that the overwhelming amount of medical data on circumcision supports the need for circumcision where we live in the United States.
Just to go back to something you mentioned, like a flat surface to sleep on with no blanket. What why do people co-bed, and what percent, like, is this a common thing where new parents are sleeping in a bed with their infant?
It is not a new thing. It might be becoming more common in the United States. I love the idea, and this is such an important question. So let me just say that first of all, I love the idea of being able to sleep with your baby, but there are and many cultures sleep with their babies. The reason that we don't recommend sleeping in the bed with your baby is because we have really good data to show that babies who sleep in the same bed with their parents are more likely to die of SIDS. And there could be a number of reasons for this, but certainly having fluffy beds with fluffy pillows, mattresses that emit volatile chemicals, all of those things contribute to why sleeping with your baby in your bed, on your fluffy bed with your down comforter, is so different than sleeping on a floor with your baby or on a burlap cot with your baby in another country. In any case, other countries usually have higher infant mortality rates than ours. So, whichever way you look at it, I would say it's not worth that risk for me. But having your baby in a bassinet right by your bed is great. You can sleep better knowing that you're not going to have your blanket cover your baby's face. It's just so important for your baby to sleep on its back so that there's nothing occluding the face, and the baby can breathe as freely as the baby needs to breathe.
Got it. You got that, Ashley?
I got it. I'm all set for that. Yep. Got my bassinet that's going to be on my side of my bed, and it's going to swivel and be close to me, but I won't be able to, but then it's got a drop down side so I can pick the baby up. Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll talk about some more tips and tricks in the future, like just having diapers right there in the pocket of that bassinet so you can just change that baby's diaper and go right back to bed without even getting up to wash your hands. Have some Purell there. I mean, you need to figure out all those shortcuts so
Oh,
you
that
can
sounds
get the
so
sleep.
gross.
Hey, I did it. My kids are fine.
But are you fine?
I know, maybe not.
Wow, so we've really covered a lot today. So Dr. Angel, can you do a little recap for us in the stuff you didn't know segment?
Sure. So I think important to know is that if you have a small baby, the hospital will do a car seat test on you before you go home, and you may need a special car seat. Um, Women with breast implants should go in very positively with their breastfeeding goals. I set the same goals. I support women who have breast implants with this. I support the same goals for women with breast implants as those without implants, and women can successfully breastfeed if they have breast implants. It's a little harder, actually, if you've had a breast reduction. Sometimes those women have a tougher time. So it's really important, if you've had any breast surgery or surgery that affects your chest, to bring that up with your pediatrician and lactation consultant so they can support you in the way that they think is best. And if you need to give your baby some formula, either because you're not making enough milk or you're not making any milk, or you've just chosen not to breastfeed because for whatever reason it's not what you want to do, your baby will be fine. There are lots of other ways to support your baby's growth and show your baby that you love your baby, and breastfeeding is not the end of it all. And it's so stressful for so many women. And I just want to make sure that if it doesn't work for you, or if it didn't work for you, that you know your baby will be all right. And there are a lot of great formulas out there, and you and your pediatrician can decide which formula would work best for your baby, either as a standalone source of nutrition for your baby or as a supplement to the breast milk that you have. And lastly, just want to mention that there are some medical benefits to circumcision, but where we live in the United States, personally, I think those are limited medical benefits. And I am supportive of a parent's decision to circumcise, and it's definitely something you want to talk about before your baby comes because it's usually done either in the hospital or within the first week of life, but often before you leave home, often before you leave the hospital. So you should know kind of like the name and whether or not you're going to circumcise. Those are the two things you really need before you leave the hospital. Those birth certificate people are going to get you otherwise.
Okay, well, thanks, Angel, for all that information. I think it's time to move on to is this normal?
So there's so many things to put in the is this normal section, but first of all, I would say that so many parents tell me I don't know how to install a car seat. So 100% it is normal if you don't know how to install a car seat. People have studied this, and something like 70% of people made errors when installing a car seat, even people that were experienced car seat users. Uh, so no matter how good you are at following instructions, I would still go and have your car seat checked at a local car seat check place. Most fire departments offer this, or your local, if you look up your local fire department or police department, you will be able to find a car seat check. They'll usually do it like on a certain Saturday of the month or something. Some hospitals will offer it too, but your community will have a car seat check option. So certainly have your car seat installation checked before you bring your baby home from the hospital.
I'm assuming a lot of these car seats that are difficult to install are not the click-in ones, right? Because you can't really screw that up. It either clicks in or doesn't.
Some of the car seats are a little bit more complex than that because it's not just the click. Some of them, they have like something that you pull over the back of the seat because there's another latch back there. So there's various things to do. And then there's also the way that in the infant 5-point harness, because it clicks up here and then you click it in the crotch area too, they'll show you how to do that, like with a doll, so that you're doing it tight enough, which takes me into the stuff you didn't know. Let's move on to stuff you didn't know. I think it's a common misperception that the car seat is too tight. And most parents, when they bring in their baby in the carrier, that baby is way too loosely strapped into the car seat. And so the car seat check people will help you make sure that you know how tight it's supposed to be. You can fit maybe 2 fingers underneath the chest straps. But really, how I tell parents to think about it is if for some reason that car seat fell out of your hands or fell out of the car and flipped over, that baby shouldn't flop down and move. You want that baby to be snug and protected by all sides of that car seat, which means the baby's in there pretty tight. And people also wonder about rolling to the sides, and you are allowed to roll up receiving blankets and put them on the sides of your baby if you feel like your baby's rolling. And so all of those things you can have the car seat check people tell you and show you how to do so that you don't have to be nervous when you're doing it with your own baby, because it is overwhelming and all of the sudden you're just scared when you have your own baby. And along with that, on stuff you didn't know, if you do happen to have a very small baby, a low birth weight baby or a preemie baby, they will do a car seat check before you leave to make sure your baby can breathe properly in a reclining car seat. Otherwise, they might ask you to go home in a special car seat that's like a flatbed car seat made for babies who are really small and whose heads might like roll too much and not keep their airways protected. So there are a lot of people that are helping you out, and make sure you take advantage of all those people and get all your questions answered. Ideally, get some of them answered before the baby comes, but even if it's after the baby comes, there are people that are there to help you.
Just because it sounds simple, it's not. I mean, there's a car seat might sound simple, but there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, it's a little unnerving that the car seat industry, in conjunction with the car industry, hasn't figured out a simplified way to make this work.
Yeah, it is getting simpler and simpler. So you're right about that, Raman. But I still think it's worth getting checked and knowing and having a doll in there with the car seat check people so that you know you're having your baby snug in there. And I had plenty of parents ask me. So also ask your pediatrician at that visit, like, hey, does this look right? How my baby's in the car seat, so they can help you out too.
Awesome advice. Thank you.
Okay, well, with that, we can call this a wrap. And thank you so much, Ashley, for being here with us again and sharing such really intimate parts of this journey that you're having with my brother, and sharing it with all of our audience and letting us go through it with you. We're so excited, and we can't wait to have you back on, maybe with the baby.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This has been fun. Looking forward to more.
Thanks, Ashley.
That's it for today's episode of The Unplanned Parent. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time with more stories, more science, and probably more of Raman's questionable life choices. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts, or share with a friend or a few. Thanks again, and see you next time.